I don't really know how this video is going to go. I don't really shy away from covering topics that sometimes result in tension, but sometimes it's unpredictable. At times it's like, oh yeah, that one is going to piss people off, lol. Other times I'll post something I think is pretty obvious and straightforward and people are like, what? You negative asshole. So this one might go either way. I say that because it's about Apex Legends and it's not me ranting and raving about how amazing the game is and how it's going to change the industry forever. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but the case I want to make is that the explosion in popularity was engineered, very specifically. EA and Respawn brute forced this game. They paid for it to blitz the spotlight, and as a result, they manufactured a media bubble that has kept expanding far beyond any point it would have ever naturally reached. The game has its unique features. The ping system is fantastic, the blend of hero aspects to keep the gameplay fresh, the clean and polished gunplay, and the gear rarity curve all mesh together and create something that sort of bridges the gap between the PUBG fans, the Fortnite fans, the Blackout fans, and, well, honestly, there's something for everyone really if they are a fan of the Battle Royale genre. But the case I'm trying to make is that as good as it is, it's not 10 million players in 3 days type good, and it's certainly not 25 million players in a week level of good. The game is now up above, 50 million unique accounts created? It could even be higher at this point, I'm not sure. I stopped researching at that number because it doesn't really matter anymore. The case I want to make is already clear as day. Apex Legends is a bit of an anomaly, really. In the age of multi-month $100 million marketing campaigns, where developers and publishers overhype their game into oblivion while lying through their teeth about its features and quality, Apex Legends took a completely different approach. A few days before the game launched, a rumor hit the scene about a new Titanfall-themed game, and wham, not long after, there it was. A free-to-play battle royale from Respawn Entertainment based on the Titanfall universe that was live and ready to be played at that moment. The reason for this alternative marketing and release schedule was pretty simple, and can be best summed up by a statement from Respawn themselves. We're doing a free-to-play game with essentially loot boxes after we were bought by EA, and it's not Titanfall 3. It's the perfect recipe for a marketing plan to go awry, so why have that? Let's just ship the game and let players play. Basically, if they had done a traditional media campaign pre-launch, the game would have failed because of many different reasons. Like they said, it's not Titanfall 3, it doesn't have wall running, it's got loot boxes, not essentially loot boxes, fuck off with that, Respawn. It's got straight up loot boxes, be honest about it. It's also got now a battle pass, which isn't being received all that well, and the gameplay stands on its own 2 feet. Yes, it does. There are wonderfully innovative quality of life improvements, and the experience is of a high caliber, but it's not an industry overturning super release on its own. It really just isn't. When release day hit, it hit hard. Twitch was completely overrun. Pretty much every single major streamer in the entire gaming space was playing Apex, and most of them, at least the bigger ones, had Apex Partner disclosed in their title or overlay or information in general. The game easily eclipsed all other releases on Twitch, with hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers for the whole first day and long after that as well. The perception rapidly started to tilt towards exceedingly positive praise of the game, and after a short time, the common opinion was that the game was amazing. It was exploding in popularity purely because of how fantastic its systems were, since Respawn had done no pre-release marketing or promotion, and it was the next big thing in the gaming space. Well, it turns out that EA and Respawn had actually stacked the deck. They may not have sunk millions into fancy pre-release ads and trailers, that much is true, but they had spent just as much on immediate post-launch marketing through the paid promotion of large content creators. This report surfaced recently highlighting how Ninja, one of the world's largest streamers on the Twitch platform, was paid $1 million to stream Apex Legends on release day. That's $1 million to a single streamer. The marketing campaign for Apex Legends was not a one-dimensional sponsorship of Ninja, it was massive. There were dozens, closer to hundreds of high-profile streamers with tens, even hundreds of thousands of combined concurrent viewers and tens of millions or hundreds of millions of followers and overall social reach that were hired to blitz the Twitch platform and brute force the game to the forefront of everyone's notifications. Respawn has now publicly made this statement as well when discussing the media strategy they used during the game's release. Drew McCoy, the lead producer behind the game, said, and I quote, "We really wanted to create a day where you couldn't escape Apex if you cared about games, and we wanted it to feel like an event was happening everywhere around the globe on that day." Furthermore, Kevin Noak, or Knock, I don't think I'm pronouncing that properly, but whatever. The vice president of an esports firm called Rect Global said they did a fairly comprehensive job at pulling together all of the relevant game influencers in this genre. That's no small task, and it sure as shit isn't cheap. The idea that Apex Legends made its ascent to mass popularity based on merit alone is ludicrous, and the assumption that because there is no lofty pre-release marketing campaign, that the game's success can be attributed to its core design and gameplay systems alone is likewise erroneous. The game spent just as much, if not more, than other competitive AAA titles on its marketing. It just did so in a wildly different way, with a different timeline and alternative approach. If we carefully examine the mission statement as well, that is to say the overarching goal of the media campaign, if you will, we can see that the premise was to create a global event, something gamers could not escape, and it was intentionally made to be an overwhelming tidal wave of perception. This kind of tactic is designed to play on gamer FOMO, or fear of missing out, because if a game is being blitzed across the public eye on a global scale, with pretty much every single major creator and streamer praising it outright, players will feel like they must try it out or they are missing something important. Right alongside that comes peer expectation. When a massive number of popular public figures are pushing a narrative and praising something, even on a subconscious level, it influences others to do the same, and the word influencer is used within the gaming space for a very good reason. They risk standing out in a negative way if they don't really follow along with it. This effect also percolates outward with ever-increasing potency as well. The more players get on board, the stronger the reinforcement of this game is good because everyone is enjoying it actually becomes. The cycle of it's good because everyone says it's good, therefore I think it's good too, is a very real thing. And I am not disputing that the game has positive elements, merely making the case that the original marketing blitz kicked into motion a snowball effect of subliminal and peer reinforced positivity that has continued to carry the game far higher and far faster than it would have ever gone based on its own merits. Another important point to make is the emphasis on creator feedback. Another leader in the streaming space, that is Shroud, was an active participant in the game's development. And this is actually a very good thing considering his expertise in the space, but it should also be recognized what effect it has on the game's trajectory. For reference, I have a much smaller but still relevant example from my own past that I would like to talk about. A couple of years ago, I was flown out to Malmo, Sweden to work on the original Tom Clancy's The Division game. It was not a major event, I was not making any high-level decisions whatsoever, it was essentially just basic mechanical balancing to help reformat the game for a major patch. But what little input I did have gave me a sense of attachment to the game, and upon returning home, and for many months after, I had a joint sense of identity with The Division and had a whole new attitude of promotion regarding it because it felt like I was promoting both it and myself since I had participated in its construction. With Shroud and Apex Legends, it's a very similar situation without a doubt, and I am not certain how many other notable creators worked on the project, but I would guess it is not isolated to just Shroud, and there are a number of them. That inevitable sense of joint interest leads to a different style of coverage, and a creator as large as Shroud influences tens of thousands of players to try a game that he enjoys, and also the projected positive interpretation of the game feeds right back into the construction of a peer-expected atmosphere of acceptance and praise. Apex Legends brute forced its popularity, it bought success, and then with it a social atmosphere of not wanting to stick out, as this sweeping wave of players adopted and praised the game and led to so many additional supporters who may not actually care about it all that much, or enjoy it nearly as much as everyone claims, but it's what their friends are playing, and everyone praises it, so why go against the grain? It's certainly not bad, it's a good game, a lot of players are just going with the flow rather than face the slings and the arrows of how can you not like Apex? What's wrong with you? In truth, it may not even be that they dislike it. In fact, there's very little reason one could truly dislike Apex Legends, but I would hazard a guess that not nearly as many players as it seems are this in love with it, or view it to be this influential upon the industry. It's a cycle of expected responses reinforcing further expected responses when asked the question, what do you think of Apex Legends? And it all stems from a massive and calculated multi-million-dollar marketing blitz designed to brute force the game to the front of the queue and spin up a narrative that to this day is still continuing. The game never would have gotten this far on its own merit alone. If they had dropped the game and not paid millions of dollars to blast the entire globe with news of their battle royale and also skew the perception of that coverage, it would have likely garnered some success and been passable, but it never would have even gotten close to what it has become in a similar time span. Not a chance. When evaluating what Apex Legends did and how it redefined the use of marketing budgets to create an extremely high-yield, short-running publicity blitz, I think it is certain that we will see more games follow suit and create attempted global events of high-intensity coverage with the goal of brute forcing a massive community that then continues to expand based on peer expectations. Is it better than a multi-month extended campaign where even your Cheez-It box has video game ads on it? I don't know, where a trailer that is a blatant fucking lie launches and then the developers claim that lying is just a cost of transparency. That's up to the individual, but it quite obviously can work and potentially works far better, so we will have to wait and see. I'm excited to see how the feedback on this particular video shapes up. I'm not claiming that Apex Legends is a bad game. Nowhere in the video did I ever say that, but there is going to be some triggered fans in the comment section. That much is completely obvious. But I'm not sure how forcefully they will come crawling out of the woodwork, so I guess we'll see. In the end, I feel that this is important to highlight, that the game did not just sweep across the market because it's awesome. It was engineered, it was clever, and it was very, very calculated and paid for. But that's it. Enough for today. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. We have some social communities, merchandise, and other things as well. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.